My band did a tour. The first time we ever went to Europe, it was a 3-month. A tour is a kind of a highfalutin way to describe it. It was more like a 3-month camping trip where you were carrying around a bunch of equipment and you set up sometimes and played. We played in all sorts of, a lot of squats, which are these kind of political places where, when you sleep on the stage and there's like a pile of dynamite for fighting the cops that's next to you, or there was one time we stayed in the squat in the Basque country where we were woken up at 4 a.m. by the separatist guerrillas drilling in the square, but probably the weirdest place we played was Poland. We did a week in Poland, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot on that trip. I learned a lot about Europe and about how it's different from here and how it's similar. Like San Francisco is in all the cities in the United States. It's the most like a European city, which I found like Paris or something because it smells terrible, and everyone who lives here thinks they're better than everyone else. But there was not that kind of problem in Poland because this was 1991 or so. The wall had come down a couple years before. It was suddenly open to weird punk rock bands doing camping trips through, so everybody was very friendly, and they hadn't seen a lot of American punk rock bands, and they didn't really know what to do. Like at that time in punk rock shows, the thing that the audience usually did is run around in a circle in front of the stage. Usually it's a counterclockwise circle, and doing this kind of Lord of the Flies dance. And they didn't know anything about that, so they had this other system where they'd all get at one side of the room and all get together and kind of huddle. And then this is while you're playing, and then you think, what are they planning? And then they'd all let out a yell and run all the way to the other side of the room and regroup and do it again. I don't know where they saw that idea, but several of the shows were canceled. Shows, I'm saying, pretend shows, were canceled because of there was a skinhead problem in Poland, and the way they would describe it is that when we cannot go there, it's a very bad place. Not many nationalists will show up, and so that at this one show in a place that looks like it's pronounced Lodz, but it's actually, you say it Łódź. I'm not kidding. That's how they say it, Łódź. Little outskirts of Łódź. Say nationalists may show up to this show, but we have sticks and we will strike them. And so I felt like, okay, we're gonna all die in a sort of stick war between the nationalists and the children who are putting on this show. It didn't actually happen, but there's all sorts of amazing things in Poland, including what happened the night after we finished our show. Everyone ran back and forth like several laps, and everyone had a good time. And then to our amazement, our hosts, the guys who said that they were going to strike the nationalists with sticks, said, "Okay, now we go to hotel." And so we had never stayed in a hotel before. I mean, I had, with my parents when we go to Disneyland or something. But as a band, staying in a hotel was just not, you stay, in America, you stay with kids whose parents are out of town, or, it's just someone at the show said, hey, come and stay at our place with the dogs and the loft and stuff. But in Europe, it was even, we stayed in some, as I told you before, these squats, and, you sleeping on the stage with the crazy German heavy metal guys playing some bar game that involved hitting axes on their bar and things like that. So a hotel, we're thinking, and it seemed almost logical because the Polish money was worth almost nothing. The Polish money was called a zloty, and you get it at the Polish, it said Banki Polska, Banki. You get the zloty at a Banki. And it was, you do the show, they would pay you, and they'd give you this big bag of money. Bag of this weird paper money that looked like people had been hoarding it for the last 40 years and putting it under a floorboards, and they finally offering it to you, but it's not exchangeable. It was worth nothing. But we thought, okay, well, maybe a bag of zlotys are going to get us a nice hotel. So they're driving in our van. They're directing us. We're going through this very winding road into the middle of the night, sort of spooky woods, and we stop, and they say, stop here, and they ask us if we were angry. And and angry wasn't the word. We were a little bit worried because we'd been driving for 3 hours, 4 hours into the middle of nowhere in Poland, but what you have to understand is in European languages, when they ask you if you're angry in English, they mean, are you hungry, usually. And that's what they were saying. They were asking us if we were hungry, and because they said, you are not allowed, there's no eating at the hotel. And we thought that this is a very strange hotel, but so we ate our peanut butter sandwiches, and then, I'm already over. Well, anyway, basically, we pulled into this place that turned out to be a work camp for alcoholic Russian workers. And for the equivalent of $5, they will lock you into a cell for the night. So that's my glamorous job story. Thank you very much.